I have a huge list to go over for Schneider, and it's going to take a good minute for me to do everything on video, but I'm going to try to capture as much of it as possible. So right now, the first thing I'm doing is side mirrors. Pretty much I purchased these updated side mirrors. They're obsidian black. They came like this, and the paint is really, really good. Good quality. Obviously it's a two-piece, but this is the front cover right over here. And you can see that, I don't know if you can see it on my phone, but the obsidian black matches what my painter, Johnny from Auto Body Creations, painted these. They look really, really good. So I didn't really need to paint match there. So you can tell they did a good job on both ends. But these are updated side mirrors. These are going to get rid of the standard single, the old style pretty much, single strobe LED, which had about 5 diodes visible. This is pretty much like the modern Mercedes. Even in fact, I think this is even outdated. But this is going to update the look. It's going to go with the aggressive curves of the SLK AMG, and these are going to be pretty good. It has a nice arrowed side marker, and of course a bottom flood lamp, which I am going to connect. So my main focus right now is attaching these to the side post, mounting everything, running the wires, and then running the wire for the bottom flood lamp. And of course, you know, I'm going to be cleaning the motor up. It is a little dirty, obviously. I'm kind of surprised I didn't do this earlier, but I guess I must have forgot. I've had all these parts in my workbench, just sitting there waiting to get put back together. And obviously, I had to bring my bumper inside because I didn't want to stuff it in my little garage that I have, my little storage garage. So I have it in here with me. And at the very bottom, you can also see my Johnny from Auto Body Creations painted my spoiler. And I have the newer spoiler wrapped right there on the bottom in it's carbon fiber from SUVNEER. And I can't wait to put that on. The paint on both the bumper and the wing is superb, and they repaired my bumper as well, because for those that don't know, this thing was broken in 3 spots. And you can kind of see it there where it's kind of a little pushed out a little bit more. It's a little stretched, but they repaired that. I don't really care too much for the bottom because that's going to get pushed in when I put the splash guards back on underneath, so I'm not really too worried about that. But they repaired all the other damages, and it looks really, really good. I can't complain at all. Happy and satisfied with Johnny's work. Even with this crisis that we're facing, this COVID-19 thing where everything's just going, everything's just either falling apart or just closing or stopping for the most part, he was able to still push through, and I appreciate his business for pretty much helping all the customers that he had, currently keeping me up to date what's going on, and getting everything done. So I like to give Johnny from Auto Body Creations a huge thumbs up and much appreciation. These side mirrors only cost about $180 for the non-carbon fiber. The carbon fiber is much more solid. It does require a lot more work to mold, and the mold is relatively beautiful. It's really done well because I've bought in these before in carbon fiber, but I didn't want to spend $300 and something on it this time. Since this is more of my budget, I had a budget that I had to work on. I did want to get some other aftermarket parts for this project, so I thought, you know what, a black sleek look, this is more than enough to complement or update the SLK's appearance slightly. And I'm wearing gloves because, as you know, black paint, you leave your smudges and fingerprints relatively easy. It's more visible, and that will drive me nuts, me kind of cleaning it. So I have my gloves on for that very reason. Now, what I used to clean this, yes, this is the same one. I kind of did it off camera, but it's a simple, I just got some alcohol. This is a 90% alcohol. And I just pour a little bit in this spray bottle. And the reason why I did it is because this bottle, the spray bottles gives a nice even spray coat. So I just went a couple of sprays, let it sit for a second, and then I just quickly started rubbing. You don't want to let it stay for too long on here, because even though it's a 90%, that 10% water is still there, and you don't want it to get inside anywhere in this motor. It's not too bad. And for the hard to read places, I'm going to use my little brush. kind of get the stuff that's in here. This out of the way. Now it comes with its own hardware. We're going to move that aside because we don't need it yet. This is the original factory hardware. For each one, it's going to come with 3 smaller torque screws that connect the housing to the actual side mirror post frame. And then obviously you got your 3 torque screws that are longer and they're silver. This retains and holds the motor for the side mirror. Let me give you a good idea. I kind of already put this one up. You can see obviously the silver torque screws that hold the mirror in place. And pretty much, here's the other one. Let me just use this one as another example. You can see where it goes. You can see the actual 3 posts. It's pretty simple, nothing too complicated. Now for the other ones, the smaller torque screws that I mentioned here, they hold this front frame of the housing. Remember how it split earlier? It's pretty much it. It's nothing complicated at all. There's obviously 1, 2, and 3 over here. That's pretty much it. This is the front end of it. And here's the back end. Now, these other hardware bits, these factory ones, are for the other mirror. And obviously, like I mentioned, they come with its own hardware. Take your time when torquing these, because remember, these are an ABS plastic. They're not metal in any way. The last thing you want to do is damage any of these posts. Doesn't matter if it's just one, that will ruin the whole rigidity of this construction. Now, connecting them will be a little different. There's no adapter. Obviously, here's the factory piece. Now, figuring out which one's positive and negative is important. Question is, they're both black, so you're going to have to test these out to make sure you get the correct one. Cut this from here, strip the harness, and attach the vehicle. Doing a quick little connect and check the indicator just to make sure it lights up. And that's pretty much it. That's all you really need to do. This one right here, they send their own harness for it for an extension that connects to this and extends through. So you're going to have to run the wire through the side post itself. So you're just going to have to run the wires through this factory harness connector and down into here. Let me just move this camera just a little bit up. There you go. And just run it through and have it come out the other end with the factory harness. So obviously you're going to connect to any power source. Typically what you're going to use is the door has its own floodlight, or courtesy light is what they pretty much call it. And you can just splice into those positive and negative and connect them through. And make sure you get the right polarity. So before you patch everything up, test it. You can just plug it into the car, plug it through the bottom end while the door panel's off, and see, making sure that the wires are correct so you know which ones to tap into. And it's pretty simple. It's not hard at all. But that's pretty much it for this segment. I'm just going to do both ends, and then we'll go ahead and go outside and test it so we can see which 1 and 2 is and which it connects to for these aftermarket harnesses. All right, it's like 3 in the morning. Well, 4 in the morning now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, I got the side mirrors pretty much semi-assembled. I need to test the wire connectors to see which polarity I'm going to be using. And right now I need to set up the bumper, and I got all the brace supports, foam supports, and pretty much all the hardware. Had everything in a bag. I'm going to be installing the grill inserts, the new fog lamps. These are from an E55. And obviously I'm going to just put some new depot side markers. Here are the brackets for them. I got the grill. I redid the grill. It's a nice matte finish with the new fins, black and star, And here is the bumper. Now the lighting in here is kind of dim, so my phone's not going to get a very good image of the bumper, but for sure from an earlier segment you're going to see it pretty good. It is well done. A little dirty here and there. It's got some of that shop residue, which I'm going to clean up. Give it a little quick wipe down. And I'm just going to install everything. And this is pretty much something that's going to be all kind of semi off camera. I just wanted to share it with you guys. This bumper looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and start with the process of just assembling the whole thing. Let's have some fun. Now, the first thing we got to do to this panel, it's a very easy panel to remove. There's not that much holding it down. It's just when you're removing it, you got to lift up. Well, you pop out and then lift up very gently. You don't want to damage any of the clips. Remember, this is a 15-year-old car, or in either way, it's plastic, it's ABS. Even if it's an ABS composite, it's still prone to cracking, even if it's brand new. So take your time with it, wiggle it, feel it loose. We got to do three things. We got to take off this aluminum plate here, which is very nice. I like the attention to detail on Mercedes. We got to take off these two torques. This torque right here that just holds this cover. And once you do that, you have to take this off right here, this piece. You don't want to damage or scuff it, so do not use any screwdriver. Do not use any metal thing. You want to use a nylon panel popper tool. Mine's a little dirty, but it's still good. And you just got to stick it pretty much underneath here. Just like that. Just a nice little tug in there, and then you just stick it a little bit more and pop down. Like so. That's pretty much it. Very gentle with it, doesn't require much force, and it comes right off. If you look directly under here, I'm not sure if you can see it, because I can't see it. You're going to see a cutout in the leather. There is a torque in there that you got to remove. That's what mainly holds the center part of this door panel. So pretty much this is what it looks like with the door panel off. And if you have the hardened Carmen, obviously you're going to have this speaker set up right here. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Now, when you pop that door panel off, there's two things you got to disconnect. Well, three things actually. This hook, you can simply by pulling the handle on the door and unhooking it. Once you're unhooking it, you just tilt this up and slide it from that cable from this whole piece right here, if I can get it focused. That piece right there just slips out from there. And you got to disconnect this harness, which is connected into the seat control module, or no, the door control module. This is pretty much it right here. The last one is going to be that courtesy light that I was mentioning. This is the wire we're going to have to tap into. And it's a long harness, and it pretty much goes at the very bottom, right there. I already kind of got a little head start, just so I can have everything ready for you guys. I have the driver's side mirror connected to the door control module, the white and black connector right here. So that means I already have control for motor functions and obviously side marker indicator. Now, obviously I have no side marker connected. I already spliced the wires and I have them exposed. Here is the new one. And I did the same with this one. I added the extension for the flood lamps, and I already spliced the wires, and you can see the heat shrink sitting there because I'm going to solder the connectors. Splice the wires for the side marker indicator. I'm going to tap them together, and you're going to see exactly how to test this out. It's pretty simple. And there it is. See the indicator right there at the bottom? Now, if you were to get it wrong the first time, don't panic. I'm going to turn these around as best as possible with one hand and touch both wires. As you can see, they're touching, but I have nothing. So that's how you'll know. Go ahead and solder the wires off camera because I have nowhere to stand this camera at a good angle. So I'm going to go ahead and just solder, heat shrink, and make it look clean, and then I'll get right back to it. This is pretty much what it's going to look like. I already disconnected it off the module, but here is, let me just get a good camera view over here. There are the solder connections right there. Nice and clean. All right, so once you figure out the positive and negative on both harnesses, you're going to do the same on the passenger side, and then now it's safe to assemble and screw in the cover itself on both front and back end with those screws that this part came with. And just like that, pretty much you just got to put the screws in the housing and finish it off, pretty much just putting the mirror back on. But they are amazing. Now the next step is just installing them to the side post, and we're pretty much done. We got the side mirrors already done. We just got to install them. This is the first phase of Schneider of getting it all back together. It's a lot of content that I have to record myself doing. This is one of them, the side mirrors. And the next phase is going to be pretty much just installing the little tidbits, some trim panels, some trim pieces just to clear out what's in my storage, and installing the carbon fiber wing, right? Nice East Coast Euro motor mounts. That's going to be the next phase of this project. Just the engine reconditioning, belts, pulleys, tensioner pulleys, spark plugs, check for oil leaks, and the secondary air pump for the air injection, for emissions, basically. Because we've got a check engine light that we do not want, and that's what's going to eliminate it. But that's going to be the next phase. Like and subscribe if you like pretty much the little content that I'm dishing out here and there. It supports me. I already hit 500 subscribers, which is awesome. That's pretty good. I'm starting to see a little bit of an upward trend. So I guess there's some people that are still interested in this platform, even though it's about 15 years old. A lot of modifications that I still need to do: coilovers, brake setup, brake fluid, brake lines, and partial suspension, and then the wheels and tires. But yeah, this is Panzer. You guys take it easy.